Today we're going to be reacting to Parachutes by Coldplay. It's our first time listening to this album in full, one of the biggest bands in the world in history, and this is their debut project.
Let's put the headphones on and get straight into it.
So we're here with the first track, Don't Panic. Funky.
Bones sinking like stone, and we live in a beautiful world.
Classic Chris Martin vocals, isn't it? Immediately you know it's Chris Martin.
The vocals pair so well with the guitar notes. It's just like they work in unison.
And they've just used that going forwards, and they've used it to their favour, and it's that sound. It's the Coldplay sound, isn't it?
Little calmer moment in an already calm song.
I feel like that little guitar part is very loud in comparison to everything else, but it works nicely. It just feels like it drowns out everything else, and it's all I can focus on at this point.
Somebody to lean on.
That was Don't Panic.
Nice and simple, isn't it? Really easy. 2 minutes 12. Does what it needs to. Pretty repetitive, but
yeah,
as an intro to an album, very nice.
It's a good intro to a Coldplay project, but I do agree the lyrics were quite repetitive. I didn't have a problem with it. I liked how for a second the piano came in, made it a bit different, then a guitar came in, made it a bit different. I liked it. Go on to Shiver up next. Still a high-pitched guitar to start off.
Still in a similar vibe, but this one feels like it's going to have a bit more energy infused into it. Oh, crispy distortion. Wow. That bass is doing work in the background.
That sound right there is exactly what Coldplay have missed on the last couple of albums.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, everything sounds so pop-led these days. Go back to this kind of rugged rock sound. It almost sounds DIY.
I don't know why they don't do this anymore. It baffles me. If there was more like this, imagine if you'd only discovered them in the last few years and only listened to those albums, you would not even think this was them. They need to bring this back 100%.
Your direction, but you pay me no attention, do you?
I like that.
I know you don't listen to me, 'cause you say you see straight through me. On and on, from the moment I wake to the moment I sleep, I'll be there by your side. Just you try and stop me.
Building up the tension.
I'll be waiting in
I know that big distorted guitar is going to come back in.
It's going to hit like a truck. Key change. Do you want me to change? They did change the key.
This has changed it up nicely so far.
Straight back in. There it is. There it is. Beautiful.
It's done such a good job of a little bit of calm and you're waiting for it to kick in again. Chris Martin's vocals on this are so nice and calming as well.
They just perfectly work with the instrumentals that's going on. And also with this track, I quite like that the bass has had a bit of time to shine through, but then also when needed, it'll just go back to the root notes, playing the root note every 4 bars or something, just hold in the background. And I think they've done a really good job of balancing all of the instruments out. Nobody really takes precedent over anybody else. It all sounds really good together.
It's quite a long song though. We're only halfway through, so let's carry on.
Is this my final chance of getting?
Bro can sing.
I'll be waiting in line just to see if you can, if you can. Oh, did you want me to change? Well, I changed for good.
Do you think that they purposefully said, "Do you want me to change?" at the point that they changed the key of the song? Because I think that's really clever songwriting. I genuinely feel like that might have been something that they've thought about.
I could imagine them doing that.
Yeah.
It's the type of thing to do. It works well.
Don't you share? Don't you share?
I liked that this has changed a little bit now because it is quite a long song. This is giving it a bit of a different vibe.
Yeah, I'll always be waiting for you. I will always be waiting, and it's you I say.
Different on the guitar though.
And it's you I hear, so loud and so clear. I sing it loud and clear. Pay me no attention, and you know how much I need you, but you never even see me.
The drummer needs a raise for that track. He carried that shit all the way through, changing it from just doing the side snare tapping into the full whole kit solos and just, yeah, fantastic.
I enjoyed every element of that song. I would go as far to say we reviewed the most recent Coldplay project not too long ago, so like and subscribe if you are a music fan. But that track was better than anything from that entire album.
100%. These first two tracks, I would say, are better than anything off that album. I don't know what happened to this style of Coldplay, but please bring it back.
Let's go on to the next song, which is Spies.
Spooky.
It sounds, I know it is, but it sounds proper 2000s, doesn't it? This was released in 2000, so it makes sense. But
almost Radiohead vibe to it. That kind of alternative indie sound.
I don't know where this one's going to go.
I awake to find no
Echoey vocals.
I said, how do you live?
See, is it going to carry on with these spacey vibes, or is it going to hit us in the face with something? That's
Down
the question.
here where I cannot see so clear. And the spies
I'm hoping that, do you know when you're waiting for something to happen? Oh,
but you can't touch them, no. 'Cause they're all spies.
Just again, all of the instruments working so well together there. You can hear the bass, you can hear the drums with the floor toms, with the whole kit riding. You can hear the guitar over the top. They're just so good at crafting music together.
to say this is the debut album as well. Jeez, it's incredible so far.
I awake to see that no one is free.
That little reverb's going to continue through this entire song, isn't it? I wonder if it'll build into something else at some point though.
I can feel Chris Martin's vocals at some point getting a bit more intense, and then it kicks into like a lighter part of the track. Back into the initial. There's still half a track left.
We got time yet.
If we don't hide here, they're gonna find us. And if we don't hide now, they're gonna catch us where we sleep. 'Cause they're just spies.
Last chance for it to boot off, really.
I don't think it's going
No,
to
I
at this
don't.
point.
They're just spies.
What do you think of that?
Good song to show off the band's skills, but I did feel like it was a little bit repetitive. Not a whole lot going on for me. Probably won't be one of my favourites off the album.
It left me wanting more. Maybe we'll get that in the next track, which is Sparks, but I just wanted a tiny bit more energy.
With it being, I mean, it seems like it's the second longest track on the album. I expected a little bit more variety in the track. Didn't hate it. Didn't do a lot for me, though.
It was just fine. So we'll go on to Sparks up next. I'm hoping for something here.
Yeah.
I want an injection of pace. Oh, I feel like I recognise this song straight away. Now, for context, I've never listened to this full album, but I will have, of course, heard some of the Coldplay songs. Yeah. Instantly, I feel like this makes me want to cry. Do you know, just the like calming, as in if you've just been through a breakup or something, or if you're going through a tough time in life, this would be what you'd put on this song straight away.
I feel like this makes me happy. It's very like airy and
Maybe we have different views of that type of music.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You say, oh, someone you know. But I promise you this.
A lot of this album, this is really faint in the background here, but for some reason I've been drawn to the drums. The drums are really, like you said,
the drums are carrying a lot of these tracks, and also the bass line is really put forwards with, I wouldn't say recent albums, but I do feel like a lot of artists miss out on that key part, and the bass holds everything together. Without that, if you took the bass out of these tracks, I don't think they'd be anywhere near as good as they are.
Of course the bass player says this.
That's what I'll do.
Do you know what I mean though? I'm here drinking a cup of tea. Feels like a sad moment.
Right?
Feels like a sad moment though, doesn't it?
Somber. I'll use the word somber, but I'm not using the word sad for this. No way.
Yeah, it does
Heavy
in this
emphasis
one.
on the bass lines.
My heart is yours.
The vocals are so good but sound quite relaxed. They're not forced out. It's like he's just sat.
Just sat,
Just having a
chilling.
little sing-song.
Yeah.
Do you know, some artists, when you listen to them, it's like, rah.
I could imagine him on stage on one of those tall bar stools with an acoustic guitar singing this into a mic.
I quite liked it. It was exactly what I would anticipate from an old Coldplay album, though.
I can't say that I was surprised by the track. I just expected a little bit more again. I think with the first two tracks, how many different styles they explored in those and the way that they took the tracks in different directions, these last two, I wouldn't say the word safe, but I think they've definitely stuck to a certain style, which isn't a problem at all. I'm not saying that it's problematic. I just expect a little bit more based on the first two.
I think we've got to remember we're going through the album as well, though. Like, I can see the next song is Yellow, which I know has a bit more energy, etc. So
yeah, I've never listened to that before.
try to take it as an album, but I liked that. It was a serene moment. It's the type of song I'd have on when it's raining outside and I'm not doing much. You know,
and you want to cry.
It creates that picture of like relaxation and sadness.
Yeah.
And I like that from a song.
That song sounds like it has a black and white filter on it. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? In a weird way.
And we'll go on to a song that we've definitely both heard a million times on UK radio and everywhere else in the UK in Yellow. But from an album point of view, this straight away is just like, boom, here's a bit more energy again. One thing I've always noticed about this, straight away the drums feel like they're half a second behind. Do you know what I mean? We've mentioned him 1,000 times, but this, it's like he's struggling to fit the tempo.
He's sitting at the back of the beat is what he's doing, and it's kind of giving this weird... It gives like an emphasis of like energy to it because it feels like it's playing catch up, and your brain's just kind of going all the way through the track. But in terms of the track listing so far, we've had a little somber moment, we've gone downhill, and now we're coming back up again.
Look at the stars, look how they shine.
I feel like I can't give an unbiased opinion of this track.
Everything you do.
This has never been a song that's been on any of my playlists, and I know every word.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, they were all yellow. I came along.
You know, he's talking about The Simpsons on this track.
Fuck off.
Your skin, oh yeah, your skin bones.
They make it sound so big without doing anything. Because realistically, they haven't really changed what they've been doing for the first, 30, 40 seconds of the track. But then when it comes in with the chorusy bit, it has an infliction of energy without adding any crazy parts. I don't know how they do it.
I think it's because of the calm nature of the songs and especially the vocals, like I mentioned earlier. You're at peace with it. So when there's a slight change, it feels like a big one because you're just so chilled listening to it. And I don't know how many other artists or albums I can think of that are so effective in doing that. So, and this is such a big chart hit, but listening to it in this sense, I'm starting to appreciate everything that's going on.
That kicking of the guitar there, mega.
The snare comes back in.
Good.
I jumped across for you. Oh, what a thing to do.
On that electric guitar that's doing the chords, you can hear how vicious they're actually being on the strings.
It's like he's missing a few notes on purpose. He's not, but you hear 1, 2, 3, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 every time.
A lot of emphasis being put on different notes to kind of keep it flowing, and it works so well. But also, when you actually fully listen to how much he's hitting those strings, you can hear he's proper like going for it, but it still sounds so serene.
I drew a line for you.
But that makes it feel like it's like 1, 2, 3. What, do you know what I mean? Like the drums are different.
Little tambourine in there. Oh, Liam Gallagher's turned up.
To something beautiful. For you, I bleed myself dry.
You can really feel them pulling back on the beat in this part the most, I feel.
It's true. Look how they shine for you. 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 Look how they shine. You do.
If someone asked me to send them a Coldplay song to tell them what they're about, it would be that song every single time.
It would be, but if you sent this to somebody who's only listened to the recent stuff, they'd be like, "This is Coldplay. This is what they do." I do fit. Do you think they knew how big that track would be when they released it? Do you think they thought this is a banger?
Well, I've seen interviews before with Chris Martin where he's said, "No, we're going to be massive." I think they knew that they had talent, but maybe not quite to the level at which this song has shot up. It'll still probably even be in the charts to this day. I'd imagine this album is as well. It's just so good. It's so relaxing at the same time as having lots of elements musically to dive into. And to be honest, it was an injection of energy that was needed in the album at this point. But the album as a whole up to this point is just, I've not wanted to skip a song. Maybe one or two. I would say that Spies overstayed its welcome a little bit. Could have been a minute or two shorter. But bar that, I'm very happy.
Let's move on to the next one, which is Trouble, the 6th track. Everybody knows that piano melody off the bat.
Don't know if I do.
You'll know the track.
Ah, yeah.
Again with the drums and the bass and everything. It just so works so well, man. So good.
And it's like we've gone back to that Karma blueprint again straight away.
Oh no, I see.
When you think he's going to go low, he always goes high.
Love that. Bam, bam. So I was saying though, and I want to emphasize this, it's the simplicity of the songs which make them so good, because every little thing that every band member does, you go, oh, I like that. Whereas if this was a normal like guitar note in a pop punk track or something that we listen to all the time, we'd go,
You'd be like, oh, it's another guitar, great, fantastic. But with this, they put so much effort into every single part. And is this the first introduction of piano in the album? I think it is.
Where it's been concentrated onto this level, yeah.
Spider web and I'm caught in the middle.
The mixing's fantastic as well.
To the right. The thought of all the stupid things I've done. I never meant to cause you trouble. I never meant to do you wrong. What if I ever caused you?
This one feels so euphoric and spacey as the guitar notes are panning across and there's little pianos coming in and out, and then it kind of resets. Genuinely feels like I'm floating away.
like whammy to the end of those guitar notes, the falling off the yeah.
They spun a web for me. They spun a web for me. They spun a web.
Just Chris Martin and the piano is more than enough. The little ghostly fall off at the end there. Woo, down into it. Will that then kick into the next track nicely? Who knows?
I would hope so. Liked that. Calm, relaxing. When I've listened to recent Coldplay albums, I don't know if, obviously it's 25 years old this now. It feels the band don't seem to want to even create the same sounds at all because they're obviously so talented and capable of doing so. Maybe they're just bored of this style of sound, but I think that this works so well.
This is easily one of their best albums, by far.
100%. We're on to the next song, which is the title track in Parachutes.
In a haze, a stormy haze. I'll be round, I'll be loving you always. Always.
Strange title track.
Very odd that, yeah, but it does show a lot, like I was saying with Chris Martin and just the piano, Chris Martin with just a guitar. Just Chris Martin's vocals can work with a single instrument so well, but to be a title track, to be 46 seconds long and to consist of basically nothing, I kind of missed the lyrics, I can't lie. I'm not sure if it was important, but...
Yeah, I have not much to say on that. It just existed. I said maybe that's what they're saying. We don't care about the title track, listen to the album.
It's Parachutes, throw it away, throw it out the plane.
Yeah. Let's carry on onto High Speed.
Is this going to be a high-speed track? Immediately, I'm going to say no.
I feel like we could do with a bit of energy here.
I
After
feel like
those
there's going
last
to be a
two.
big crash cymbal that comes
Or
in
nothing.
a sec. Oh, that reverb. That reverb is still going.
Can anybody fly this thing?
Very in the realm of Radiohead, I think.
Yeah, it almost feels math rocky.
We've been living life inside a bubble.
Love the echoed vocals. I've said that earlier. I think they do that perfectly.
Confidence in you is confidence in me. It's confidence in a higher speed.
Nice little bass feature here. Well, tasty.
Tim trying not to mention bass challenge impossible level, but I actually think it's the drums again on this. Just constant, like hitting the hi-hat, loving it. This has brought a step up that fits in with the album in tempo, I mean, but not one that's put me off.
I really like all of the effects that they're doing on the instruments on this track. They're getting those little space age, and then it cuts off to nothing, and then it kind of like gets you ready for something, and then I don't know. I think it subverts expectations with what you think it's gonna do. A bit psychedelic almost. Isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
That's what I mean by math rocky, because it's like feels everyone's struggling a bit.
Inside a bubble.
Every time after a vocal, I'm like, is it going to go boom? Are we about to jump in?
Confidence in a higher speed.
There it was again. Into nothing. Very psychedelic part this.
How spiritual. How
Super spacey, a lot of different sounds and reverbs and things to concentrate on there.
Felt like I was on a spaceship towards the end there. That was so good. I really enjoyed that. That had so many different aspects to it that I really enjoyed. It wasn't just like the space agey parts, it was also the parts where it just sounded like a regular song, but they managed to blend the two styles together. And with the constant reverb going into nothing, it kind of had that feel throughout anyway.
One thing that's impressive, I'm just literally reading the Apple Music bio here. It's not my unbelievable music knowledge. It says that Coldplay played their first gig in 1998. This album came out 2 years later. So to be creating music like this is stupidly impressive. And we'll go on to the second to last song, which is We Never Change.
Well, you do, because your new stuff ain't as good as this.
Don't be like that. It is very true, though. It's awful. Also, if you're enjoying this video, leave an album that we should listen to in the comments. This is our first of this style. We've never done this before, listening to an album live. So let us know if we've already both listened to it. Obviously, we can't. Put a few. We're here for suggestions.
Never be cruel.
His vocals just don't change, do they, Chris Martin's? He just always delivers them almost exactly the same. But it works every time.
Never come down.
It's in another one of those sad moments, isn't it?
Have friends around.
Again, they added a little reverb just on the last note of his previous line.
We never changed.
Nice use of brushes on the snare.
See, I was in that much of a vibey trance then. My nose just hit my microphone. That says that I'm like just moving around, enjoying myself that much. I'm unaware of my surroundings.
Smelling the mic. I feel like that tinging is a brush on the fucking ride cymbal.
Probably will be.
With the brush on the snare as well. But again, the drums just do so much on this
Yeah, I
album.
would actually agree with you there.
Yeah. Like they can change the entire feel of a song.
We never changed.
Because it's not heavy at all, is it?
We're making more friends. Would be
Still keeping in that ethereal vibe that the whole album's had, really. That kind of spacey. There's a lot of reverb on this album. It's reverb heavy.
Yes, and I sit every single day. We're making more friends, it'd be easy. I wanna live where the sun comes out.
Ending on pure vocals. I do think the last couple of Karma songs have been very different to the first few on the album. Do you know, we had a moment with Little Energy at the start, but they felt more, less personal. They felt different. It just was like your typical kind of indie-ish relaxed song, whereas these have been a lot of different elements, a vibe that you don't get from all of the bands.
Definitely. I feel like they've used the dropouts a lot on this as well, where they've just let Chris Martin be with a single instrument. Works really well, but it also puts emphasis on how much the drums and bass are doing for the rest of the track. When, like at the end of that, when everything dropped out, it was just Chris Martin, you kind of think, oh, I'm missing all that stuff. It falls into the background so well, and that's how you know when someone's achieved what they're doing, where it's adding so much to the track, but it's not taking away from everything else. But when it's not there, you can immediately feel that it's absence.
There's a void.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so they've done such a good job with that. Well done, man.
We're on to the last track in Everything's Not Lost, which is at 7 minutes.
Woo,
Let's
long
get
one.
it. Given the vibes of the last couple of songs, I'm expecting this to be all over the place.
When I counted up my demons,
Bit jazzy.
saw there was one for every day.
Discordal.
With the good ones on my shoulder,
It's that ging.
I drove the other ones away. Well, I'll be counting up
Really
my
quiet
demons.
guitar in the background there. I like that.
Hoping everything's not lost.
Nice.
I'm going to fail the challenge because that bass is phenomenal. It's so jazz infused, but still it's like a Coldplay jazz song. It's weird.
You could feel it all around.
A strange thing to say, but the way in which the instruments have been recorded doesn't sound as polished as a lot of poppy, rocky albums that you hear nowadays. And it gives a weird homely feel. It feels like it could have just been recorded in a room around the corner, but they've made it sound completely epic. Do you know what I mean?
It was released in 2000, so I imagine it was recorded in the late 90s. And I can't see them not doing it where they have a microphone in front of live amplifiers and, mic'd up drum kit rather than it being very synthetic and direct lines into the recording software. I think a lot of it will be just mic'd up and it works well.
I like the feel of it.
Yeah.
Don't you let it drag you down. 'Cause if you ever feel neglected,
Changing drums again changes the entire feel of the song. It happens so many times.
if you think that all is lost,
I love this section. It's happened once already. It's come back in, but you can feel it's going somewhere. More and more sounds being added.
It feels like we've learned the blueprint now. We've kind of learned what they're going to do, but this is the pinnacle of it.
Drop out to just Chris Martin and one instrument again.
everything's not lost. So come on, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, come on, yeah. Everything's not lost. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
One thing that I've noticed that they really like to do with this album is they don't like to, at many points they could have had the drums come in just before when everything else comes in and do like a do-do-do-do-do-do,
Yeah,
but they never do that. They just wait, and as soon as everybody's ready, then they bring everybody in, and it adds such an extra layer of excitement. And when's it going to happen? When's it? And then
It's
it
like an
hits,
onion.
and you go, oh!
Is that going to be it? Is it just going
Feels
to be
like
a really
weird
strange,
dream
slow
reverb, that.
ending?
Yeah.
I mean, it says there's a minute 40 left of the track, but we're literally in complete silence here. So, I think that might be the end, Tim.
Now
Oh.
I never meant to do you wrong.
Secret song.
That's what I came here to say. But if I was wrong, then I'm sorry.
There's a filter on his voice for this.
Don't let it stand in our way.
Sounds live almost.
'Cause my head just aches when I think of the things that I shouldn't have done.
This is feeling very Beatles inspired. What a strange outro that was to the album.
And that is it. That is Coldplay Parachutes. I didn't actually like that outro. I thought the last song was quite good up to the weird change in tempo completely. But as a whole, what did you think, Tim? First time listening to that in full.
I thought it was really good, to be honest. It's quite an experience to travel through the entire album and listening to it track by track. You get the feel for it. I feel like if I was to listen to any of these tracks individually, I perhaps wouldn't have had the same feeling that I did listening to it as a whole project.
It does build a picture, doesn't it, throughout? You feel like you're learning what the band want to do, where they want to take you, what different sounds you need to concentrate on in select moments. I would say I can see why a lot of old British rock fans in 2000, when this came out, would have gone, this is the new rock music. We aren't having this. Because Coldplay are quite hated really by a lot of old school rock heads or people who think that it's not real rock music, which I suppose it falls under the same category as a lot of the newer bands that have come out in recent years, where it's like, well, it's not Oasis, is it? But it's still rock. It's still guitars and drums, etc.
This would have been the start of like a new genre of music, really. Maybe not the start, but it definitely helped to set footprints for other bands in the future to follow in this blueprint. But I do feel like it's in the same way that modern age, where indie doesn't really sound like indie anymore. Pop punk doesn't sound like pop punk anymore, because it's always evolving. So at any point in music history, you're always going to have people saying, this isn't real rock, this isn't real, this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, what defines real rock?
And as a debut album, this is particularly impressive.
This is phenomenal for a debut album. But again, Chris Martin, an immensely talented musician.
Yeah, and his vocals, even up to the newer albums, are still fantastic. I can never deny that. I just feel that the vibes around the band as a whole have changed in terms of the music they want to put out, and that's fine. It's not for me. I do think generally it's not as well received by the public as it used to be back in this era. But this album has surprised me. I liked pretty much every element of it. I do think there were one or two songs which could have been slightly shorter, but most of it was fantastic.
I do feel like this album was injected with a lot more emotion and kind of heart than newer stuff, and I think that might be what the newer music is lacking, is that kind of drive almost to create new music, whereas now they've kind of fallen into, all right, we're Coldplay, this is the music we're going to make.
Now it is just happy songs.
Yeah.
Happy vibes most of the time. There's some more emotional numbers, but I suppose after 25 years of making music, how much more do you have to say?
Yeah, you've got to change it slightly at some point, and eventually, like we're saying, stuff evolves over time. Not always for the best, but with this album, a phenomenal start for Coldplay.
What was your favourite track?
I reckon probably Trouble, which I had heard prior, but it still is just a fantastic tune. Yellow, of course, is massive, and I think anybody could easily say Yellow. I think Trouble is quite a cop-out to say, but it just resonates with me really well.
I liked Shiver.
Shiver was good, yeah.
A little heavier, by far the heaviest on the album, maybe even in Coldplay's discography. There's some more on the second album that I know of a similar ilk. I really liked that. Straight away from the get-go, it made me go, ooh, this doesn't sound like what we used to. Really enjoyed listening to this album.
Yeah.
And if you enjoyed watching this video, hit like and subscribe. As I said earlier, this is our first time trying this style of video. So leave a little feedback. Let us know some other albums we should listen to. We'll take it on board, or we won't.
We'd cover every genre of music, from rock to rap to pretty much everything, to Coldplay. So stick around, enjoy. Thank you very much for watching.